Today we will study the origination of hypothesis or the suggestion of hypothesis. It is very difficult to explain how hypothesis originated, but from the history of science, certain situations can be described that led to the formulation of hypothesis. First is keen and creative imagination. Science aims at understanding nature and finds order among the events in nature. We already know that scientific investigation begins with a problem which the scientist tries to solve. But to perceive a problem is itself a brute experience and not a common man's talent. We know that it is not so easy to perceive a problem. Only a genius can perceive, not a common man. It is something unusual. To solve the problem requires tremendous skill, and the person who is born with creative mind and is gifted with imagination can only formulate a hypothesis. Let us see how the law of gravitation was discovered by Newton due to his creative imagination. One day, when Newton was sitting under an apple tree, an apple fell on his head and then on the ground. He observed that all the objects fall to the ground. So a thought came to his mind that the earth may be having some force which is pulling all the objects towards it. Thus he discovered the law of gravitation. Many farmers might have also seen the falling of an apple from the tree, but it was only Newton who could discover the law of gravitation because he was blessed with keen and creative imagination. Now let us see the second factor which led to the formulation of hypothesis, that is painstaking work. Hypothesis is the result of painstaking work. One may reject many hypotheses before proposing the right one. Though a fruitful hypothesis is a happy guess, a scientist rarely finds the right solution at once. He has to take lot of pain to frame hypotheses one after the other till he finds the correct solution. Now let us see how the light bulb was invented by Thomas Edison. The invention of light bulb that helped to light our world was due to the painstaking work of Thomas Edison. It is very simple that when electricity flows in the filament of a bulb and heats it up sufficiently, then it begins to glow. What do you understand by filament? It is a very fine wire like fiber which is seen in the bulb. Here the major problem was that Edison wanted the bulb to glow more brighter and for the longer time without overheating the filament. So Edison had to take lot of pain to work with various filaments. He tried with copper, platinum and some other metals. Finally, carbon filament was the winner of all metals. But before he could declare his invention, he had to test it. On 22nd October 1879, he ran his first successful test on the light bulb. It burned stronger and brighter for 13.5 hours. Thus, Edison's painstaking work had success. Now, let us take the third factor that led to the formulation of hypothesis. To frame a hypothesis, one must already have some knowledge of the field in which he is actually doing research, so that he can use that knowledge to solve his problem. Louis Pasteur had wide knowledge of diseases in general. Let us see how this knowledge helped him to solve his problems. Louis Pasteur was asked to cure the diseases of silkworm. He had no knowledge of silkworms, but he was the only man in France who could cure the diseases of silkworms because he had wide knowledge of the diseases in general. What he did was, he related the knowledge of diseases to the problems of silkworms and could cure them. Now we come to the fourth factor, that is insight. Sometimes solution to the problem occurs in the mind in sudden flash of insight. That is, the solution to the problem strikes the mind unexpectedly. Let us see how Archimedes could solve his problem in sudden flash of insight. Archimedes had given some gold to the goldsmith to prepare a gold crown for the king, but he doubted that the goldsmith had cheated him. The problem was how to find the truth. Archimedes thought about it day and night, and one day when he was about to have his bath, he slid into the bathtub. Then what happened? Immediately a large quantity of water flowed over the brim of the bathtub. He noticed this, and his brain worked suddenly. He jumped out of the bathtub shouting, Eureka, Eureka, which in Greek means I have found it. That means Archimedes had found the solution to his problem in sudden flash of insight. It suddenly struck him. So he formulated a hypothesis that different metals of the same weight having different volumes when immersed in water will displace water, and the displaced water will be equal to their volumes. Now Archimedes had the knowledge that when iron cube and aluminium cube of equal weight are immersed in water, they displace water, but aluminium cube displaces more water than the iron cube, as aluminium cube has more volume, and we know that this is because aluminium is generally lighter than iron. Now Archimedes performed an experiment to test his hypothesis. He took two bowls filled with water up to the brim and placed them in two different empty vessels. Then what he did was he immersed a pure gold cube of equal weight to a crown in one bowl, and in the other he immersed the crown. Both the bowls displayed water which was collected in the empty vessels. Archimedes observed that the crown had sent out more water than gold cube. Therefore, the crown had some other metal mixed in it. This metal occupied more space in the bowl than the pure gold, so his problem was solved in sudden flash of insight. Fifth is chance or accident. Very often, accidental observations suggest hypotheses of importance. The discovery of penicillin by Alexander Fleming was the outcome of chance observation. Let us see how it happened. It was in the year 1928 that Alexander Fleming had started a germ culture, but he had to go out on a holiday. When he returned after a week, he examined it and found that the germ culture had got spoiled due to the presence of some other bacteria in it. As he was about to throw it, he accidentally observed that there was a small patch of mold round which there were no germs. Thus, by chance, he had found a solution to the problem as to why the germ culture had spoiled. He put forth a hypothesis that the mold was giving out some substance which was preventing the germs from growing in its neighborhood. This hypothesis actually helped him to discover penicillin. Accidentally it happened. Now we come to the sixth factor which led to the formulation of hypothesis, that is rational activity. Though the cultural patterns in which a person is born and brought up plays an important role in suggesting a hypothesis, the investigator starts with his available knowledge, examines all the possibilities that could probably explain the phenomenon, and then formulates a hypothesis which is not a wild guess. It's not a random guess, but the result of rational activity. Means a lot of reasoning is involved in whatever solution, a possible solution that the scientist gives. A rational activity is nothing but the investigator's productive idea and plan that is worth doing to get solution to the problem. Example, let us take in the case of COVID-19, a scientist puts forth a hypothesis that it is due to a virus and microorganism which is transmitted through the water droplets from an infected person is the result of rational activity. Last is the induction by simple enumeration and analogy. Sometimes method of simple enumeration and analogy helps to suggest a hypothesis. Let us see what is the method of simple enumeration. It is a method in which some instances are observed to have uniform qualities and no contradiction is observed. On the basis of this, one can conclude that what is true of the few observed instances is true of all the instances of that kind. The hypothesis that all whales are warm-blooded was put forward by this method, which was later on confirmed. The other method is the method of analogy, in which two things resemble each other in certain qualities and one thing has an additional quality. On the basis of this, one can conclude that the additional quality possessed by one thing is also possessed by the other thing. Let us see how this method was used in science. Two planets, the Earth and Mars, resembled each other in certain qualities. That is, both the Earth and Mars are planets. They revolve around the Sun, they rotate on their axis, they get heat and light from the Sun, they have moderate temperature, land and water. The additional quality possessed by the Earth is that there is life on it. So, a hypothesis is put forward by the scientist Lowell that there is also life on Mars. But this hypothesis is put to test and not yet verified and proved or confirmed. So, now you have learned that there are some factors which have helped the scientists to formulate hypotheses that led to various discoveries and inventions. Thank you.